Well, unfortunately, tonight is one of those nights that all the teams that won in today's action of the MLSisback tournament, I don't have a jersey of those teams. But fear not, I am working my way in terms of trying to get a jerseys for every single team. And then I've just recently got the two New York team, and I also got a Nashville Fanatic t-shirt, which is kind of useless because Nashville is one of the two teams that did not participate in this tournament, and they of course withdraw from this tournament. But that being said, in terms of today's action, again, not a lot of goals that we saw in today's action, and we did had a couple of teams that got eliminated from this tournament, and we also had a couple of teams that are now moving on into the next round. And two of those teams that is moving on into the next round is Toronto FC and New England, as both of them play to a 0-0 draw, and both of them are now moving on into the next round, with Toronto going to be moving on into the next round as the top seed heading out of Group E. Now, despite the fact that this was a 0-0 draw between both of these teams, there were definitely a lot of chances, and that this could have easily been a game that a team could have won it, or that we would have saw goals in this game if finishing was a little bit more clinical in this one. First of all, there was no Gustavo Bo in the starting 11, and I heard that Carlos Hill actually left the New England bubble there, and that he's not going to be participating in this tournament anymore. So that's a little bit of a blow for this Revs team going forward on the attack. But in the first half, Pozuelo had the first big chances as he's trying to chip Bono, but unfortunately hits it over the bar. Then in the 18th minute, Matt Turner robbed Aquinola, who was through on goal, and this won't be the first time that Turner made a good save on Aquinola and robbing him a chance to get a goal in this one. Now in the second half, New England really started to be the better side and really started to control the game. In the 53rd minute, Fagundes had a deflected shot that just breezed by the right side of the post. And then 1 minute later, Brendan Bye almost headed the Revs the opener, but unfortunately it just went a little bit wide. Bono then robbed Buxov, who had a chance to tap it in from 4 yards out. And yeah, if you're Adam Buxov, I'm pretty sure he does not want to look this one back tonight, because this is probably a goal that he should have scored. If you're a striker like him and you have that opportunity to tap the ball into the back of the net from 4 yards out, you have to do it. It's good the fact that at least he kind of got it on target, but the fact that he kind of got it straight into Bono, and he easily saved that one, yeah, he definitely does not want to look back at that one as a big chance that he missed and could have given his team the opening goal in this. Now, in the 78th minute, Turner once again robbed Aquinola, who of course went through on goal, and Aquinola, he had a chance to continue to add to his tally in terms of the Golden Boot race, but unfortunately, unlike in the first two games where he was just red hot and everything that he of course shoot ends up into the back of the net, today wasn't really the case, but that's mainly could be because of Matt Turner, that as I said before, he has been a goalkeeper that I think there should be a lot of recognition that he's been incredible for the Revs, and that he could really be up there in terms of if there's going to be an awarding who is the best goalkeeper in this tournament. Now, in the 87th minute, we had some VAR play that was implemented during this game, and VAR actually overruled a potential penalty kick for TFC after it deemed that Jones actually brought Aquinola down outside from the box, and it was a right call. I mean, when you look at the replay, clearly Jones brought Aquinola outside the box, and that the refs got away with a potential penalty that probably would have given TFC the lead up to that point. Now, Josie Altidore also came on as a sub in the 87th minute, which is the first time we've seen Josie Altidore in this tournament. And it's kind of interesting that Vanny decided to bring him on this late into the game, because if you're going to bring him this late into the game, you might as well just not bring him into the game at some point and just maybe wait for him to bring him on once the knockout stage, of course, has happened. And when Altidore does came into the game, I thought Aquinola was probably the one that he's going to be subbed off, but no. Instead, he decided to put Altidore and Akinola in the same spot, which kind of tells me maybe going forward, Greg Vanney is going to play with two striker and that he's going to have Akinola and Altidore going forward as the two guys to try to bang in the goals for TFC. Now, speaking of Akinola, he had another big chance to potentially get a goal in this game and probably could have got the winner in the 93rd minute, but unfortunately it just dragged his shot wide. And that was really the last opportunity of the game for him, or the last opportunity for any of these teams, as both of these teams weren't able to find another chance for the last couple of seconds of stoppage time. And in the end, it was a 0-0 draw between both of these teams, but definitely not because of the fact that it was a boring game, but it was the fact that this game was a game of missed opportunity. Now, in terms of shots in this game, TFC had 14 shots compared to 10 that New England has. 5 shots on goal compared to 2 that New England has. 6 shots off target compared to 4 that New England has. 3 shots that was blocked compared to 4 that New England has. And possession-wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession that New England Revolution had in this game. But moving on, in terms of the next match, is Atlanta. So, yeah, Atlanta is done in this tournament. After they lost 1-0 to the Columbus Crew, they now become the second team to be eliminated from this tournament, and that they are also now the first team to be eliminated from this tournament without scoring a single goal. And I believe this is now the third straight 1-0 loss that Atlanta has suffered throughout this tournament. As of course, in this game, they suffer a 1-0 loss to the Columbus Crew, and rightfully so, Atlanta got eliminated from this tournament, because in today's game, I thought that there was going to be some urgency, knowing the fact that, they have to win this game and that it's a must-win situation, but it didn't seem like they had any urgency, and that just felt like they realized that they probably are done in this tournament before the whistle has actually kicked off. Now, before the whistle actually was sounded for the first half, some important thing to note is that Columbus did elect to go with a strong starting 11, though Zalarian and Eloy Rome was not available for this game. I believe Caleb Porter decided not to put Zalarian because he wanted to rest his best player on this team. And Rome, obviously, he suffered an injury right near the end of the Red Bulls game, which means Tarbell is starting in this game. And I was really keeping an eye on to see how Tarbell did in this game, since this is the first time that he actually started a game since 2018, and this is the first time I get to see him play not in a Quakes uniform. Now, in the 8th minute, Diaz hit the side netting despite the fact that he was being wide open in the box, and when I mean wide open, I mean he was basically through on goal. It was just pretty much between him and Guzan, and yet somehow, in some way, he dragged that shot wide, and in many ways, that should have been 1-0 in favor of the Columbus Crew. The good news for the Crew, they eventually did make it 1-0, and it came in the 18th minute when Jonas Mokhtar scored from Valenzuela, who, by the way, Valenzuela, this is his first start ever since he suffered that ACL injury, and it's great to see that he is now back in this squad, and even better to see him coming back after that lengthy injury and play a part of the goal that the Columbus Crew scored in this. And after that, I just felt like Atlanta looked like they were down and out. Like, as I said, not even before the first whistle was blown in this game, it just felt like Atlanta looked completely disinterested, and that they knew that the writings was really on the wall, and that there was just no way in the world they can, of course, come back into this game. Now, in the 42nd minute, Jonas Mokhtar, the goal scored, unfortunately was subbed off with a knee injury, and I'm pretty sure if you're Caleb Porter, that is probably the last thing you want to see, knowing the fact that they kind of gamble by putting a strong starting 11, even though they didn't really have anything to play for, and unfortunately now one of his starters has suffered an injury. But the good news is Columbus is a team that not only have a very dangerous kind of underrated starting 11, but they also have some depth pieces on their squad, and they of course brought on Etienne into the starting, or brought on Etienne for Mokhtar in this situation, and I thought that was a pretty good substitution, bring on a very speedy winger to take over Mokhtar in that spot. In the second half, again, Atlanta, I thought, coming out of halftime, Frank DeBoer must have did something to try to inspire his team to get the 3 points and really get into the mode of that this is a must-win game, and that if we don't get anything out of this game, we are going home. But it just doesn't seem like that way, because they looked like they were still going through the motion, and that they look clueless going forward. Like, how many times I've seen in this game where the final ball in this game was just absolutely dreadful. And it's not that the fact that this Atlanta team does not have some good talent on the attack. Like, when you have the South American player of the year a couple of years back in Pity Martinez and Barco on the same pitch, and they don't create anything throughout this game. Yeah, I mean, that's just been the story of this tournament for Atlanta United, where not only it's clear that they missed Joseph Martinez very badly in this tournament, but there's just no creativity whatsoever from this Atlanta team. And if I would have said that maybe 2 years ago, and kind of just foreshadowing you that in 2 years Atlanta will have absolutely no creativity whatsoever, you would have probably think I was drunk and just completely out of my mind, or the fact that I'm just salty the fact that Atlanta just won an MLS Cup in their second year of existence. Now, that being said, in the latter part of this game, I thought the game kind of started to look very stale, and I kind of also started to not really paying attention a lot, because both teams looked like they were just sailing for the score, and that it seemed like this is either going to be a 1-0 win for Columbus, or somehow in some way Atlanta is going to get that moment of magic from one of their DP. And that it almost came in the 88th minute, but Andrew Tarbell, who, as I said, I was really keeping a close eye on him since this is his first time wearing a uniform that is not the Quakes to be playing in an MLS game. And, I also tweeted out that if he makes a mistake in this game, Crew fan, don't blame the Quakes for decided to give you Tarbell. Like, you literally took the offer for us when we decided, well, they didn't actually take the offer, but they decided to kind of sign him off of free agency, and that, you knew this was going to happen. But to be fair, Tarbell looked very good in this game, and that he did make a big save there on Castro's header. And then right on to the 3rd minute of stoppage time, and in the last couple of minutes in this game, he made another big save on Ezekiel Barco to deny Atlanta the equalizer. And in the end, Columbus with a 1-0 victory over Atlanta United, as they have now become the only team right now to be able to top their group and finish the group stage with the maximum point total of 9 points. While for Atlanta, yeah, they are done, and that they join Inter Miami as the second team to be eliminated from this tournament. And I'm pretty sure if you're an Atlanta United fan going forward, I'm pretty sure you hope this season is over, and hope that once this tournament is over, they don't come back to play. Because I have a feeling if we're going to continue to have a regular season after this tournament, if this is how Atlanta is going to play for the rest of the season, they have no chance at all of making the playoffs. And I'm not saying that just to be sarcastic of whatsoever, but the way that they play in this tournament is almost like I don't even recognize this team the way that they play, let alone Atlanta United fans that are probably in a meltdown right now with the way that they just completely don't recognize the team that won the MLS Cup just 2 years ago, and how in the world such a talented squad like this could score no goals throughout these first 3 games in this tournament. Now, in terms of the shots in this game, Atlanta had 15 shots compared to 9 that Columbus had. 6 shots on goal compared to 3 that Columbus had. Both teams had 4 shots off target. 5 shots that was blocked compared to 2 that Columbus had. And possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that the Columbus Crew has. Now, besides the fact that Atlanta is eliminated from this tournament, we also had another team that got eliminated in today's tournament, and that team is DC United, who unfortunately their luck kind of ran out in this game against the Montreal Impact, as they lost 1-0 to Montreal in this game. And I'm not sure if I say this in the preview, but I did kind of warn people that this is going to be a boring game. Like, knowing the fact that both of these teams love to kind of sit deep, and going forward in terms of the final third, both of these teams have definitely not looked good whatsoever. I knew this was going to be be one that is going to be kind of hard to watch. And unsurprisingly, for the first 20 minutes of the game, not only the fact that there was no chances from either of these teams, and that, as expected, both teams looked poor in the final third, but it was just at times kind of give me memories of that RSL versus Minnesota game. And anytime if I remember what happened in that RSL versus Minnesota game a couple of days back in the tournament, you know this is probably a very lackluster game, and a game that you definitely don't want to tune in unless if you're supporting one of these teams. Now, in the 29th minute, we finally did get some action after Brian almost made probably the most comical error of this tournament and probably scored the worst own goal so far in this tournament, as he was trying to clear the ball away, but somehow, in some way, he completely fluffs it and almost scored an own goal as he was trying to do so. Then, on the very next sequence on the corner, Taidir scores from Bojan, and this was a shot from Taidir from about 25 yards out, and it looked like for sure that Bill Hamid was just going to easily catch that, only if Brian didn't actually stick his leg out and deflect that one in and basically kind of score an own goal in sense. I mean, yeah, that was definitely not a great moment for Brian, and certainly not a great a couple of sequences we saw Brian did in this game, and ultimately this deflection would cost DC the game in this one and pretty much cost their chances of moving on into the tournament, as that turns out to be the winning goal. Now, in the 35th minute, Felipe put a nasty challenge on Wanyama, who I feel like that should have been a red card. Like, the way that Felipe gone studs up on Wanyama there, usually when I see that kind of challenge, it is definitely a red card. And the fact that they only gave him a yellow card in that instant, and the fact that they didn't look at VAR in that situation, just kind of proves my point of saying that VAR has been very inconsistent in this tournament, and that VAR seems like they're in mid-season form, where there's times where when they do go to VAR to look at clear and obvious foul, they probably will get that call wrong, or if there's like a clear and obvious foul or a mistake that was made by the referee and they don't look at VAR, like what we saw in this instant, it pretty much just tells you that, yeah, clearly VAR in MLS is back in mid-season form, because that's just been the way it is. Now, in the second half, DC had a couple of chances to get the equalizer, but in the 56th minute, Diop was able to rob Segura with kind of a weird kick save that he had. I'm not quite sure that Diop meant to do that or not, but either way, it was a good save that he made. Then a minute later, he would rob Pereira with a chance to equalizer, and then just 10 minutes later, Urruti had a chance to pretty much put this game away for Montreal, but unfortunately he hits the post. And DC, they really tried to look to try to get the equalizer, but unfortunately they weren't able to do, and that Montreal was able to hold on. And Montreal didn't really had to be sweating out for the last 10 minutes of the game, despite the fact that at times the announcer says that the Impact was kind of sweating the fact that they might concede a goal. I mean, DC, they just didn't look good at all in terms of the final third in this game, and that's kind of just sums up this tournament for DC too. I mean, if you minus those lucky kind of chances that they had and that improbable comeback that they had in the first game, they have looked not good at all in this tournament, and that if it wasn't for those lucky moments, they would probably be in the same situation that Atlanta is in right now, which is going to be eliminated from this tournament with 0 points and also without a goal score in this tournament. But yeah, in terms of shots in this game, 12 shots compared to 7 that the Impact had, 3 shots on goal compared to 2 that the Impact had, 6 shots off target compared to 3 that Montreal has, 3 shots that was blocked compared to 2 that Montreal has, and possession-wise, 52% possession compared to 48% possession that Montreal has. As the Impact, they're still alive as of now that they are in that third spot, and that they're going to be really hoping that other teams in this tournament would be able to also finish with 3 points. That is a third place team, and that they have a chance to potentially moving on. I mean, right now they have, I believe, a -1 goal differential, which is not ideal for a team that is sitting at 3 points to be a third place team with a -1 goal differential. But you never know. We'll see how other teams that eventually finish in the third spot and how many points that they're going to get and the goal differential, and that they hope that those teams might have a worse goal differential if they actually finish third place with 3 points. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of today's action. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these games? And tomorrow, I believe we got another 3 games that is going to be happening, and one of them involved my team, Minnesota, playing against the Colorado Rapids. And I know tomorrow we're going to have a couple more teams that unfortunately will have to join Atlanta and DC United, as long as and also Inter Miami in that elimination kind of part of this tournament, and pretty much have to leave Orlando and head back to their home base to either prepare for next year or prepare for a regular season that is going to be happening after this tournament. Although that regular season is still no guarantee, because I haven't heard any news whatsoever from the league talk about how there could still be possibly a regular season after this tournament is over. But that being said, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I, of course, will see you guys next time.